The Marvel Comics solicitations for February 2022 are out, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not actually going to cover them in full this month. I'm actually starting a vacation on Monday, and I just quite frankly don't have time, but I will talk about some information we got regarding Sins of Sinister, the big event coming out from X-Men. Now that Judgment Day is over, we got to get right back into another event. If you recall, this is what Marvel had to say about Sins of Sinister when they announced it. The Sins of Sinister event, in which the Marvel Universe is remade in Mr. Sinister's image, a la the original 90s Age of Apocalypse event. Sinister's machinations will create a horror timeline that makes Age of Apocalypse look like the X-Men swimsuit special, which is set 10 years in the future, and that timeline will extend into several other spin-off limited series, each running for 3 issues. We now have the information regarding those spin-off series, and it appears, just by looking at this and also taking into account a recent interview with Kieron Gillen, that Kieron Gillen, Ewing and Si Spurrier are like the new Illuminati when it comes to X-Men events now. If it's an X-Men event, apparently it's going to be Kieron Gillen. He recently talked to AITP, and when he was discussing his Judgment Day event, which I think is quite lackluster. In fact, I think it's humiliating that Marvel Comics even published the damn thing. That's how awful it was in the end. Nothing changed. Nothing important happened there. They asked him, how did you juggle all this stuff? And apparently, Ewing and Si Spurrier were very helpful because they were creating a lot of it themselves. Kieron Gillen said, obviously, I left big spaces for Ewing and Si Spurrier to fill with the Araco books, to be as flexible as possible. Then there was just talking about what they needed, which often led to me tweaking the main series to align with what they wanted. So these 3 creators are working behind the scenes and kind of spitting out the events that we're getting right now. Ewing's X-Men Red has actually been pretty decent. Of all the X-Men books, that is the one that I would read if I had to read a book on the regular right now. Si Spurrier's Legion of X has actually been quite disastrous. It's just terrible. No one's reading it, which is actually a good thing because it's not well written. It's not well realized. Way of X was kind of a revelation. I was like, wow. Si Spurrier's got some things to say in this Krakoan era that are at least interesting in comparison to the other writers. We get the follow-on book, Legion of X, and absolutely not. Immortal X-Men, I guess is the flagship X-Men title at the time, with Kieron Gillen, is a lot of exposition. It's just people sitting around a table talking, and I find it quite boring. We do have the information regarding the event series themselves. Immoral X-Men is the first series from Kieron Gillen and Paco Medina. You will get used to hearing that artist's name. He's actually illustrating all 3 books. This is what Marvel Comics have to say about Immoral X-Men. They said the mutants were humanity's future. It's 10 years later, and they were proven to be right. The X-Men exist in a world that adores and respects them. So why are they sworn to crush it? But while they do, Emma can take a few minutes out to crush Mr. Sinister. This sounds more like a what-if comic book. I guess it's like the far-flung future. Well, not far-flung. It's only 10 years in the future. And the whole world is like worshiping the X-Men because they're amazing or something. But I thought they were going to be terrorizing the world, or at least like Mr. Sinister was when he like did these mutant chimeras, which were hinted at in House of X Powers of 10 and then seemed to be executed very poorly in this event that's coming up. I don't exactly know why we're doing this. And Emma Frost is still trying to kill Mr. Sinister even though he's in charge. Like, I don't know exactly what this one's going to be about. I think they really just made the comic book so they could call something Immoral X-Men because it kind of sounds like Immortal X-Men. Get it? Like, it's clever. That's what Kieron Gillen's doing here. They actually made a 3-part miniseries tying into Sins of Sinister because they thought the name was clever, maybe. We'll see what happens there. We have a couple of more tie-ins to talk about. Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants from Ewing and Paco Medina. 10 years from now, Mars has been destroyed, and now Storm wants revenge. The new Brotherhood will battle their way through hell to seek the greatest secret of the Sinister Age. But are they fighting to save the world or end it? And who is the man called Ironfire? Just based on the premise of what Sins of Sinister is, I imagine Ironfire is a chimera based on Tony Stark and Sunfire. Kind of makes sense, I guess, or at least the Sunfire part does. Can you make chimeras with humans? I'm assuming Iron means Iron Man and Fire means Sunfire. Obviously, there are a couple of other characters within the Marvel Comics universe with the name Fire on there, but really Sunfire is the best known mutant character, so I kind of assume that's who Ironfire is. And once again, it sounds like they're trying to destroy the world. Why would you want to destroy the world if you were ruling it? And apparently Mars was destroyed. I thought a lot of important things happened on Mars. Like, that's where all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, like that led up to everything happening like in 1,000 years or something. But we have one more project to talk about. And if you know me, I happen to love Nightcrawler. He's my favorite X-Men character. And you would think just by the cover and the name that this would be the one I'm most excited about, but that is not true. I think this one will absolutely be the worst out of all of them. Nightcrawlers by Si Spurrier and Paco Medina. 10 years into a twisted future, Mr. Sinister unleashes his private army of assassins, the Legion of the Night. Meet Wagnerine, commanding this killer crew of brainwashed hybrids, each one a genetic mix of Nightcrawler and another one of Marvel's most murderous mutants. Mysterious forces seek to break Sinister's control over these fatal fanatics to turn them against him. But who are they? And what are their true motives? Enter Mother Righteous in a meeting of the most powerful players in the universe. Fantastic. We're going to get some more Illuminati action. How many organizations behind the scenes can be trying to destroy the universe or control it or whatever? It seems like we have about 15 too many in Marvel Comics. As far as Wagnerine, wow, that's really creative. You combined Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, with Wolverine, but it's not the Wolverine you think, judged by the cover. It's X-23, the fake Wolverine that no one actually calls Wolverine, but that's the one that they've decided because she's probably more dangerous and killed more people than Logan at this point. Some of you may be asking, who's this Mother Righteous character they're talking about? And most of you likely have no idea what that was even referring to because you would need to read Legion of X starting at issue number 2 when that character was introduced from Simon Spurrier. This is what Si Spurrier had to say about old Mother Righteous. Mother Righteous is a powerful and mysterious new player in the great drama unfolding in and around the X-Sphere. Not pure villain, not pure hero. She strolls calmly out of the astral plane one day with an unnerving smile. She comes offering gifts, little things, magic, wishes, spirits, gods, power, the repercussions of her generosity, and the things she expects in return from those who accept it will be felt across the future of mutant kind and the wider Marvel universe for a long time to come. My oh my, doesn't that sound exactly like Mephisto? Wow, you created a new version of a character that already exists in the Marvel Comics universe, but she's got a new look and it's a female character, and Si Spurrier, I guess, gets creator rights for Mother Righteous, a character that will practically mean nothing in Marvel Comics history because, like I said, that character already exists. The character's name is Mephisto, which is obviously a play on the devil and all that kind of stuff. Don't make a Faustian deal in the Marvel Comics universe because Mephisto will absolutely bite you in the ass, and it sounds like that's exactly who Mother Righteous is as well. Are you excited about this stuff? Because I could not care less. It sounds so boring. Wow, Age of Apocalypse, but everybody is Mr. Sinister, the most played out villain in Marvel Comics right now. That he's just in too many comics to be interesting, and you have just the worst writer of all times with his take on Sinister. Kieron Gillen kind of driving all this. It feels like a big pass. Obviously, I'm going to cover it here on the channel because it is a comic book YouTube channel, but I think you can tell by my voice, I am not like outraged. I don't really care. I guess I'll cover it, and that's what's going to be happening. And this is following up what I consider an enormous humiliation for Marvel Comics and their events called Axe Judgment Day, also led by Kieron Gillen, with help from Ewing and Si Spurrier. If that is anything to judge by, this thing will be absolute garbage as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Doc and I talked about the final issue number 6, not the Omega issue, which is kind of more embarrassing actually, but you won't believe the follow-up, the ending to Axe Judgment Day. It was absolutely humiliating. If you didn't see it, you've got to see this right now. What a shit show. If you don't see it here, there's also a link in the video description.